Boy, this is just becoming like the worst version of Groundhog Day I can even imagine. Just, it's like unbelievable how the Jazz find ways to lose these leads. It's unbelievable, although it's kind of the same story every time. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Warriors a little bit. It's the Hoops Nerd postgame show. All right, guys. So where do we begin? I guess let's start with the Warriors and talk about them a little bit. Obviously, Draymond Green is back for them. He had a pretty, I mean, I'm just looking at the stats because it felt like he did what he does, but this team really misses Steph Curry in a lot of ways. But Draymond Green was a plus 20 in this one, 7 assists, 9 rebounds, 10 points. Pretty vintage Draymond Green night. I mean, honestly, I kind of want to go to the Jazz, but what we do is we talk about the other team first. Klay Thompson found his way against the Jazz. He took 28 shots tonight, made 50% of them, 36 points. At one point at the end of the game, he was just bombing it and knocking it down. It was pretty much classic Klay tonight. 8 for 17 from threes. He took 17 threes. Jordan Poole took 15. Poole has 31 points, but look at this, 2 assists for Klay. He was greenlit and he was taking shots and he was making them. 50% from the field and man. I mean, it's, for Warriors fans, I'm happy for you. It's nice to see Klay kind of finding his rhythm, although I haven't watched enough Warriors lately. I know they've been struggling, but I haven't been watching them while they struggle to kind of dissect why. But one of the things is I think Klay just hasn't quite been, classic Klay. And tonight he was. So maybe this is a good sign for the Warriors fans going forward. If you're a Warriors fan and you've never been to this channel, which is likely the case if you are watching this, a little warning. The Jazz perimeter defense is putrid. It's bad. I've seen things in the toilet that are more attractive to look at than this Jazz perimeter defense. And so we'll see. Maybe Klay has figured it out. The Jazz certainly help people figure it out when it comes to perimeter defense because look at what Jordan Poole. I mean, Jordan Poole, not from the 2-point range, but from 3-point range was solid. I mean, 40% from the field is not too bad, but 40% from 3 is great. And taking 15 threes when you're shooting 40% is great. Great. 47% from Klay, 40% from Jordan Poole. When you're doing this, you just can't shoot the ball enough, And so great job by the Warriors. They had a monster night from Jordan Poole, like we said, plus 16 for Poole. He was fantastic to close in that come from behind. I loved how Steve Kerr clean. I love how he closed the game with Otto Porter. I just love Otto Porter. He was one of the most underrated pickups of the offseason. 8 rebounds for Porter. He takes just 4 shots. Scored just 2 points, but I thought he did a good job defensively. And then Gary Payton Jr. had 2, he had some monster steals. 5 assists for Gary Payton. The guy is just a monster. And I was actually thinking about it during the game. Payton reminds me a little bit of what's his name? Caruso on the Bulls. And I kind of thought that might be kind of a fun video idea just to compare the two. He's really nice, and I would find a way to keep him if I'm them because he's been kind of a revelation. He's honestly one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Maybe the best on-ball guard perimeter defender out there. I don't know. He's fantastic. So 2 for 5 from 3 there, too. So good for him with 5 assists. What a night for him, by the way. I actually didn't even realize Iguodala played, but he was minus 19. Man. And then, of course, Andrew Wiggins, who's been terrible since All-Star break, absolutely goes off. 7 for 10 from the field. Shout out to Bojan Bogdanović's defense, by the way. But 7 for 10 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, 17 points, 3 assists, 2 steals. He was just magnificent. I think I'm dead on the inside at this point. Should we talk about the Jazz? Should we even talk about the Jazz? Should we even? Ma, la, What's there to say? It's the same thing every time. It's the same thing. I want to give a shout out to all the commenters who talked to me about how I didn't realize how good Bojan Bogdanovic was and how important he was. 6 for 15 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3. He was a minus 24. Let me know in the comments how I was wrong. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know, Bojan stands. Let me know. Royce O'Neal was 0 for 5 from the field. 0 for 3. 6 rebounds. He did have 2 assists. He had 4 turnovers, and they were bad, and we're going to watch them right now. Everyone wants to, crap on Mitchell, who was not great to end the game again. And we'll talk about that, but this was a turnover on Royce. There you go. Give it to him after the rebound there, Royce. Right here, we have Royce. He gets the ball up here. He traveled. Come on. This was pick 6. Speaking of Gary Payton, that was that steal and money on the other end. That's the game right there, by the way. There's whatever that was. And that's the end. If we don't have those, then maybe the Jazz win. But it was really bad. It was really bad. Let's see. So if we talked about Royce enough, he was a major reason they lost the game. He was a minus 25. He had the worst plus minus of the team. At one point, the Jazz were up by like 13 to 16. I can't remember what it was. I think it was 16 points. I can't remember. But then I think it was maybe 13 when Quinn made the brilliant, basketball genius Gandhi Einstein move. What Einstein was to physics or whatever he studied, science. Quinn Snyder is to basketball. I know he's that brilliant mind. And he used that brilliant mind. Is this the... I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. But anyways, he made that brilliant, masterful move. Mwah, 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 mwah. When the Jazz were up by like 13 or 14 with like 7 minutes left. He takes out Wancho and House, who were doing great. Would you guys like to see their plus minuses? I don't even know what they are. We're going to go blindly look. Oh my gosh, it's even worse than I thought. Plus 20 Wancho, plus 21 House. And Quinn, in his masterfulness, in his absolute travel to basketball nirvana, to the absolute peak of intelligence and PhDs, decided that we are going to sit these two guys because apparently 16 minutes and 17 minutes for two guys that were plus 20 and plus 21, that wasn't a good idea. Instead, let's bring in these guys. Let's bring in those guys. Oh, Jordan Clarkson as well. Actually, Jordan Clarkson, he took advantage of this. And then Quinn ruined Jordan Clarkson's night by bringing him in at the end because he would have been plus. But Quinn decides to sit Wancho and House. And they promptly lose the game. This is... we could talk about what Mitchell did, and we're going to talk about it. We could talk about Rudy Gobert and what he did, because guess what? Both of them cost them the game. But really, it was Royce and Jordan Clarkson at the end. And, I guess even Bojan. It cost them the game. Flat out. If that was the game. Can we just trade Vogel for Quinn at this point? I'd do it. I'd do it in a second. I'd do it in a freaking second. But we got bigger problems. Let's see. Christian House money to Haas. Mitchell's turnovers. Look at this. He had 1 turnover. So it wasn't Mitchell's turnovers. It was he didn't make his shots. And Mitchell wasn't clutch at the end. But for the night, and a lot of these misses are at the end. Nah. it's not good. Mitchell, here's what, okay, let's just talk about it. Let's just say it. And I don't know if we're going to go very long tonight. It's the joke of the show because we go longer every single time. I think Donovan Mitchell is the second best player on a championship team. That's what I think he is. I think that he needs to be with another wing star of some sort. And that's kind of what he is. Maybe he's a number one on a championship team. If the Jazz could trade Rudy for like something that complements Mitchell better, like if there was like a wing out there that they could somehow bring on to the Jazz that, you know, wants to come to Utah in the offseason. It's not happening. It's not happening. That's why the Jazz are in trouble. We're in trouble, guys. It's Trouble City, capital T, capital P, toilet paper. That's where we're at. Donovan Mitchell struggled. We can watch the one turnover. It was at the end of the game. It was very bad. I don't know if it was a pick six turnover. Look, 5:48 in the fourth. That's, at least it doesn't lead to points. The Jazz get in the half court, but it's a bad turnover. It's not as bad as the Royce turnovers. Oh my gosh. The Royce turnovers were backbreakers. They were bad. I guess if we're doing turnover party, let's watch Rudy's turnovers. These were backbreakers, by the way, as well. Rudy, I don't know if this shows. This is the one where he hangs on the rim for some reason. What is he doing? What are you doing, Rudy? And then this was the one at the end where the Jazz actually had a shot. Rudy makes a great defensive play and throws it out of bounds. That was as backbreaker as anything because that's a transition opportunity. That's points on the other end. So, I mean, yes, Donovan wasn't good in the clutch, but Rudy wasn't good in the clutch. Quinn was just horrific to end this game. Absolutely horrible. Mike Conley had his best game of the night. There's not really a lot of bad things to say about Mike Conley. Mike Conley was fantastic. 55 from the field, 45 from three. He did what he's supposed to do. He had 8 assists. He was one of the few guys actually playing well in the clutch, and he had 0 turnovers. I mean, Conley was masterful tonight. Conley was unbelievable. So nothing but good things to say about Conley. We could talk about how they're undersized and how that doesn't help defensively, but you know what? If they'd have just kept Juancho and House in the game, like if you just closed with Donovan, Mike, Juancho, House, and Rudy, the Jazz win this game. Like, Bojan wasn't, like, doing anything special. 2 for 7 from 3, that's, like, okay. But it's not, like, blowing the doors off anybody. If you close with Juancho, House, and you just go defensive lineup, because the Jazz were up 16 with, like, 7 minutes left. And if you just go with a defensive lineup with Juancho, House, Donovan, Mike Conley, and Rudy Gobert, you win this game because you get more defensive stops. They only won, even after all was said and done, they only won by 4. If you're up by 16 and you just get a couple stops, you win the game. You know? It's just stupid coaching. It's just stupid. It was really dumb. It was really stupid. And at this point, it's laughable. You know? It's just stupid. I don't know how else to describe it. This team to win games at the end of games just has to put the ball in Donovan Mitchell's hands, and it's up to him. And lately, it's not been good. But the reason that the Jazz were better in the clutch in seasons previous was not because Donovan Mitchell was all that different. It's because the defense was better. Like tonight, if they had defensive lineups and you just give Mitchell the ball, he goes down and he doesn't score one, but then the next time up he scores, and then the next time he doesn't, and the next time he does. That's fine in the clutch. But you have to be playing defense on the other end. On the other end, they're just going haywire. You know? That's on the coach. I mean, honestly, it's such bad coaching. It's such bad in-game management. And I will say this too, like, if I hear one more person blame Danny Ainge for anything, I will lose my mind. Because Danny Ainge was not the one who decided to bench these two guys right here. Hernan Gomez and House. It was not, someone in the comment, let me know how that was Danny Ainge's fault. Someone let me know how it was Danny Ainge's fault that Quinn, with a 16-point lead with 7 minutes left, decided to sit these two players, how that's Danny Ainge's fault. Someone let me know. in the comments, because I hear a lot of people on Jazz Twitter and a lot of people in Jazz Reddit and Jazz Nation and blah, 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 trying to just blame everything on Danny Ainge. Here's how we'll end tonight. It's time for Truth Serum for all of us. For me, Truth Night. Honestly, like we said last game, honestly, honesty. It's time to stop, and this is life advice in general. Stop cop-outs. No cop-outs. Cop-outs cripple you as a person and as a team. They cripple you. The cop-out that I hate is that Danny Ainge ruined this team's chemistry. Oh, the chemistry's bad. How can they win when the chemistry is so bad? Danny Ainge made them nervous and sad, and they felt the other cop-out. Joe Ingles got traded to Portland. Joe held the locker room together. Somehow this at the end of this team, they play so much better if their locker room was great. They kept things together. Well, guess what? The Jazz had a 16-point lead in this game with 7 minutes left. Locker room chemistry is not doing anything for you at that point. Blah. Stop cop-outs. Those are cop-outs. Those are for people that don't want to embrace and face reality. The problem in front of your face. Okay? I don't know. Joshua Hansen, the Danish Destroyer. I can't take it anymore. Convince me why I should keep watching. Well, I hope you're not talking about the Hoops Nerd Show. I hope you're talking about the Jazz. I don't know. We just have these psych sessions at night. We could just sit here and just like figure it out. But here's the thing. No more cop-outs. It's not Danny Ainge. It's not Joe Ingles. Because, by the way, we don't have Hernan Gomez in this game giving us a plus 20 if Joe Ingles is on this team. Locker room chemistry isn't giving you a plus 20 in this one from Hernan Gomez. He's been remarkable. He's been the best part of that trade. I did not expect it at all. Everyone thought it would be Nickeil Alexander-Walker developing. No, it was Juancho. Juancho! And we don't have Juancho if we don't trade Joe Ingles. And by the way, and we all talked about it, Joshua, Christian, House Money, all you guys, we all have talked about it for a year. Joe Ingles couldn't guard a paint bucket. Joe Ingles couldn't guard a fence post. Joe Ingles couldn't guard, anything all year long. It was terrible. These problems were happening before the Joe Ingles trade. It's not like this season was fun beforehand. Like, this season has been crappy start to finish, And I know people will say, like, the tryhards and the Quinbots and all those guys out there, Jazz Media. By the way, go listen to the Zach Lowe podcast. Oh, that's by the way, I posted a reaction to the trade. It was supposed to go up earlier, but YouTube put it on unlisted. And so right before I was like, why isn't this video up? I put it on public right before I went live with this. So please go watch that video. Comment, like, share it with your buddies. I made my take on the whole news with Rudy Gobert and stuff. But anyways, Zach Lowe, and my favorite part was him making fun of the Jazz media and then the Jazz tryhard media that just is always trying to be in with the Jazz team and all the people that are working for the Jazz right now that were tryhards that were with Greg Miller. By the way, the revelation that Dennis Lindsay wanted to draft Giannis and the Millers didn't let him. We could have had the best player in the NBA. We could have had him. Shout out to Greg Miller. Greg Miller. His final parting gift was no Giannis. Maybe that's why his mom fired him. Maybe that's why Gail Miller fired him. Because she saw who Giannis was and we wanted him and Greg Miller said no. Shout out to Greg Miller. Final parting gift. But anyways, I don't even know what I was talking about. I was trying to show what kind of pump. I think we just slip slowly into insanity at this point. Oh, here's the thing. Everyone should be reading SLC Dunk. Stop reading the tryhards. Stop following them on Twitter. Stop putting up with the baloney. Certain people are so obviously trying to keep their contacts and their sources and all of this. And Christian House Money haircut. What haircut? Oh, I don't know, guys. That's pretty much all I got. Fire Quinn, it's time. Can we make sure he's not on the plane on the way back? It's over. It's done. What I wanted to say. Oh, Greg Miller. Yes. Greg Miller's stupid haircut. It's like 1986 called, and they even 1986 thinks it's a bad haircut. He got fired by his own mom. And he didn't want Giannis. He got fired by his mom. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being fired by your mom sucking that much? I don't know if anyone has sucked at anything as much as he sucked as an owner. Anyways, I was just going to say, I think Donovan Mitchell is a number 2 on a championship winning team. I think they're going to trade Rudy Gobert. The video I talked about, it's about the rumors with Dallas Mavericks. Go watch it. My thoughts are there. I just think there's too much baggage here. I think there's too many scars. I think the Jazz after this season, I mean, maybe they catch lightning in a bottle. I would love it. It makes this channel do well. Like this channel, I've lost. We won't even go into it. I'll cry. When the Jazz do well, this channel does well. When they do not, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I just think after this season, and by the way, part of the reason you should go listen to that is it just sounds like Donovan Mitchell's not re-signing in 3 years. So why not just get ahead of it? The thing is like when the Jazz went from Gordon Hayward to Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, there was never like they were going to tank, but then Donovan Mitchell turned out to be like, infinitely better than I think anyone predicted. And what they should have done, and and it was fun. They went with Ricky Rubio, and the start of the year they were terrible, and they were in the lottery. And then like around All-Star break, Ricky Rubio literally started shooting like 60% from 3 to end the year, and the Jazz just went off, and they had a first round playoff win, which was really fun. But that's the most we've ever done now, because we kind of just capped off what we could do. Now, Dennis Lindsey sucked after that. Like, he couldn't do anything good after Donovan Mitchell. I guess we did get Bojan Bogdanovic, and he's been a nice pickup. Arguably, like, the best free agency pickup the Jazz have ever had, which is, sadness, I guess. But outside of, like, Bojan Bogdanovic, what else went well? We spent, like, so many first-round picks to get Mike Conley, and that's been a bust. I mean, it's been good, but we never got past the second round. And I mean, I just don't see them doing it this year. I think they have a chance still to like win the first round, but I just don't. Does anyone here think they're winning the second round? Maybe. I hope so. We'll get some views, maybe some followers and stuff. Great, but like, I don't think so. And so I think at that point, if they don't pass the second round, guys, I think it's time to tear it down to the studs and just do it right. Because honestly, guess what? If they tank, when they get Donovan Mitchell his rookie year, and we know how his rookie year was, we could see just like there were so many flashes. You knew he was going to be incredible, but he was not quite there yet efficiency-wise. He was a good spot-up shooter, but the pull-up 3 was not there. The athleticism was out of this world. And then of course you combine that with Rudy Gobert, and you've got a really nice combo, which is what the Jazz have to this day with Mike Conley, who is older. Man, my nose is itching. But they never tanked for that top guy. The year after, if the Jazz had tanked, let's say the Jazz like after like midway through the season, they just trade Ricky Rubio and they just say, hey, we're just gonna like be the Donovan Mitchell show. Let him just try to earn Rookie of the Year, score a bunch of points. We don't care if we win though. We'll rest Rudy most nights. Rudy has a back injury and they just tank, and maybe you get like a top 5 pick. Maybe you get lucky and you get top 3. Guess who went number 3 in that draft? Luka Doncic. You know, it's really likely what they should have done, but it's hard. It's hard to make moves like that. That's not easy to do. And honestly, like winning the playoff series was really great. And Donovan Mitchell's never gone through a tanking season. Like most stars, he never started from like, a 15-win team and build up. I mean, he just went right into the playoffs and was the star of a playoff team. He's not really been through a lot of adversity like the Jazz are going through right now. And I honestly don't know if he's capable of doing that at this point. Because if you're used to playoff seasons every year and the Jazz say next year, like, Don, look, we're not doing it with this core. We need to take a year or two to like get you some guys that can play with you and we can develop and build a real thing. I don't think Don's going to do that, especially if he's going to leave in like 2-3 years. In 3 years, if he's gone, and this Jazz team obviously needs like another star to pair with him, whether he's better than Don or just complements Don really well, like a wing that can get buckets and defend. That's what they need. But like Don's probably not going to be patient for that. And if he's leaving in 3 years, then I don't know what you're getting from Rudy Gobert that's going to come to this team and take you over the top. I don't know if certain teams value Rudy Gobert like Jazz fans do. I mean, in that podcast they do talk. There's a lot of suitors. Like maybe you can go to Atlanta and you can get John Collins and if you're really lucky, maybe DeAndre Hunter or something like that. And then you develop like DeAndre Hunter would be like the guy I would go after because he has potential to be like, ooh boy. But even that, like, does that make you a championship contender? You need Hunter to like take a leap. I don't know. I don't know if it does. And it's the question is, do you want to win a title or do you just like getting to the playoffs and doing Greg Miller time and just making money so you can go buy a car at auction? Bad haircut, Greg Miller. Loser, Greg Miller. Stupid loser, Greg Miller. Hate that guy. So I don't know. I think that after this season, there's just honestly too much baggage too. Like how much baggage can one team have? How much baggage can one team accumulate? I mean, what this team really reminds me of is the Chris Paul, Blake Griffin Clippers. There was just too much, at a certain point, there was too much baggage. You just couldn't, that group of guys, as much talent, and that team was probably more talented than this Jazz team, honestly. If you look at Blake Griffin, #1 overall pick, Chris Paul, Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Famer, leading the Suns, and they decided it wasn't going to work. And so Doc Rivers and all them, and it's just over. And that's what this reminds me of. It's just like at a certain point, it's just this group is just too broken. And I just don't know if you can fix it and count on Don staying. Because if you're keeping Don, you kind of have to have him stay, right? Because you probably want picks for Rudy. You want those picks to develop, but Donovan's not going to want picks. And is Donovan going to be happy if you like barely miss the playoffs next year? Because instead of replacing Rudy with, another star, you get like good role players and some picks. And if you just like miss the playoffs next year, and honestly, if Donovan Mitchell is a #2 guy, then maybe you need to think about just getting a #1. Because if we're being honest about Utah, here's my short show. If you're Utah, you need like a Giannis, right? You need a guy that's arguably the best player in the league or a top 5 guy, at least an MVP level guy. The Jazz had that with Karl Malone. and John Stockton was an incredible number 2. On a good team, on a championship winning team, John Stockton is like a number 2 guy. And it was perfect. Karl Malone was your MVP guy, your MVP caliber player. John Stockton was the perfect complement to him. I mean, those years were so fun because it was just perfect. You have your MVP guy, you have your complimentary guy, and then role players. The Jazz just could never get role players, and the Millers wouldn't make big moves to like fill the roster or like spend extra money. They could have won a title if they'd have got more guys, honestly. But you have that. You need those 2 guys. It really is what like Daryl Morey says, even though Daryl Morey, in my opinion, sucks and is overrated. But you need like 2 top 15, top 10 guys. And I think the Jazz have like 2 top 15, top 20 guys. They don't have a top 5 guy. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe you need like a top 5 guy and like a top 10 guy. This is getting a little out there, but like a top 5 guy and like a top 15 guy at least. Right? But you need that top 5 guy. And you're not getting him in free agency in Utah. You're just not. The way the Jazz have always gotten their talent, the way they got Karl Malone, the way they got John Stockton, the way they got Deron Williams, the way they got Donovan Mitchell, the way they got Rudy Gobert was through the draft. Right? That's how you do it in Utah. And since the Jazz did not do the tank, full-on tank, and they did the 1 year and they drafted Dante Exum, and his injuries just kind of derailed him. And by the way, if you want to feel some pain, go look at what he's doing over in Europe. Oh my gosh. But anyways, that'll make me cry even more. But anyways, you've got to do the tank right until you get that guy, until you get someone. And apparently, not this year, but the next year, that draft is allegedly, from a guy I've talked with, that in terms of just draft, one of the best drafts in a while. So there's some guys in that draft. When Banyama, or whatever his name is, that guy from France, is going to be in the draft that year, and he is. Someone in the comments spell it out so everyone can go search him. But Wembanyama or something from France, he is like Rudy Gobert, but he has like the most fluid offensive game, and he plays defense, and he moves, and he's just gonna be a star. Might be worth it. It is worth it. He will be worth it. And if you're Utah, that's what you need. You need that number 1 guy. You just do. And if Don's not that guy, I love Donovan Mitchell, by the way. Has anyone supported Donovan Mitchell more than me? Let me know in the comments who they are, because I don't know them. I love Donovan Mitchell. If he is traded or moves on, it's going to hurt really bad. But sometimes you got to be honest. And I was wrong about one thing the other day. The Jazz have their number 1 pick to the Thunder for favors, but it is protected. So they can get that pick if they're bad enough. So that might be what the Jazz are looking at. We'll see. Anyways, guys, by the way, we got a new All-Star, TGD. TGD. Everyone let me know what you think. It's nickname time for TGD. We got a lot of people watching, and this is your chance to let me know. TGD. What is the nickname for our newest All-Star? Thank you for joining, by the way, TGD. You're the man. Every All-Star gets their own nickname for the call-out at the end. But let's see. TGD. Total. Gobert Donovan. No, that's not it. I want to say like, it can't be a swear though, but I was like totally god damn. Can't say that. TGD, that's a swear. Sorry. Apologies. TGD. GD. Total game domination. Total game destruction. Total game domination. Total game destruction. It's not, yeah, total great day. Totally good day? The good The good the good deal. The great deal. The great destroyer. Ooh, we got a Danish destroyer already though. Destruction can be good or bad. That's very versatile. TGD. TGD. Uh, we're going long. I got to make a cheesecake tonight for tomorrow. I'm going to put it in the fridge. Tribe good dibes. 3 good donuts. Total game destroyer. We got another fan of that. Total game destroyer. Total global domination. Global domination. How about that? The global dominator. The game dominator. The game dame. The game TGD. Because it's got to be, it's someone's initials, obviously. Like, trying to think. Total game destroyer. Total global domination. TGD, total game destroyer. I like domination, I think. I like donuts too, though. This is great. Great YouTube video. Trade Gobert Don. Let's go with total the Great Dragon. Ooh. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Tin Man. This is what global domination looks like. This is what the Great Donut. The Great. I like that. The Great Dude. The Great Date. The Great Dude. The Great Day. The Great Donut. What are great D words? Delicious. I like delicious. Delicious. Time for a good donut. The Great Defender. The Great Defender. The Great, keyboard warrior. Something with that. The Great Depression. Total game. Total. Tugada. Together. Because the Jazz tend to be dragging their feet in the fourth quarter. Tried. Great. Dominate. Great dominate. Great dominate. Great dominate. I like how that rhymes. The Great Dude abides. I think the Great Dude is it. The Great Dude. TGD, the Great Dude. I think that's it. The Great Dude, TGD. You're going to have to help me remember. The Great Derriere. I think he's the Great Dude. The Great Dime. Ooh, basketball related. The Great Dime. And he's like a dime piece. Probably attractive. All right. Do I have a hammer? No, but I do have a Mountain Dew Zero. This one is the Mountain Dew Zero Spark. Sponsor me, Mountain Dew. Total game domination. Yeah, let's do it. Total game domination. I like it. It's late. Let's drink some Mountain Dew. We're making great choices. All right. Let's see. That's it. That didn't work. Try good defense. Total game domination. That's it. All right, TGD. There it is. We got it for you. And by the way, if you want one, then you better join the channel and become an all-star, or at least just join the channel to support it. Total Game Domination. Total Game Domination, TGD. Welcome to the channel. There is your nickname, Total Game Domination, baby. All right, let's give a shout out to our all-stars. And our newest all-star, TGD. Total Game Domination. Christian House Money to Haas. Tyson Price, The Price is Right. Baby Elliott Matson. X marks the spot for Zintas. Jordan the Goat Best Roll. Joshua Hansen, the Danish Destroyer. And one Anton Warren. Ezekiel Rice Seabay, the man from down under. JT Buckets Wardell. Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire. Eric C. The C stands for Champion. Donald Schooley, schooling all of us. DW to CB. Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer. Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de abajo. Christensen driving the lane. Patrick Akubo, the connoisseur. And Robert Hall of Fame. There's a show for you. There's a show. There's a show. Shout out to everyone who was part of the channel. Join the channel if you want to join the chat. Be a part of the show by supporting the channel. I appreciate all of you. You're here. The Jazz are crumbling, but we're rising. We're rising. We who were honest the whole time. SLC Dunk, all of us. Shout out to everyone. All of you. Like and subscribe. If you're new, like and subscribe. Join the channel. Do it right now. Talk to you next time.